Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DFS process. In this video, we are looking at the MLB slate for Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody watching. We got 9 MLB games tonight. No NBA today, but we do have UFC, which is going to be fun. It's always a fun time on Saturday. I got this new microphone, blue microphone. It's about $100, so hopefully it is worth it. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better, and I'll be able to use this going forward for the next couple of years. But let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos for me, appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe. You can check out the website, Twitter, Prize Picks. You can use my code PROCESS for a deposit match up to $100. Thanks for them for sponsoring the videos. And let's go ahead and get started. So, Fantasy Labs, I don't know why they have this Angels game here. It's starting at 4:07. It's not on the main slate for DraftKings, so we'll skip that one. We got the Red Sox against the Rangers, Rich Hill against Glenn Otto. Red Sox really struggling so far at bottom in the AL East. The Rangers, they paid a lot of money for Semien, and he's batting below 200 with 0 home runs at this point. Hopefully his bat turns around. This is a game where you can always attack Rich Hill. I think he's coming back. Yeah, he said he's starting. He's not much of a strikeout pitcher. He has 17 strikeouts in 22 innings. It feels like he's 50 years old at this point. Sometimes he does a good job of limiting damage, but he's a lefty, so I'm not interested in getting to like Corey Seager, lefty. They do have some good righties. So if I was stacking the Rangers today, I look at like Semien, even though he struggled, he's good against lefties historically. Adolis Garcia is mashing home runs, and Solak looks like a decent option. And then on the Red Sox side, we finally saw the home run for Trevor Story, but he's at 5K, so he's not interesting. Red Sox don't have the highest total. They're an all-right stack. You can go with some one-offs here, but they're not a team that I'm looking at too much. Next game we have is the Astros against the Gnats. Astros continue to win. They're on an 11-game winning streak. Going up against Eric Fede in Washington. It is a decent ballpark to hit in, so we could see some home runs given up here, especially by Fede against this powerful Houston offense. He's given up 3 so far in 30 innings. He's given up 15 walks as well, so good chance that they'll have some runners on base here. In terms of the lineup here, Alvarez looks great. At 52, you're getting Bregman like 4 straight games of double-digit fantasy points. He's been hitting the ball really well. I do like him more against lefties, though, and then Brantley just is always cheap. Doesn't give you as much power as like Alvarez, as Tucker, but it does make good contact, doesn't strike out much, and even the bottom, you can go with like the cheap catcher. If you needed to, the Astros definitely a part of the stacking options today. Not so much for the Gnats, not really interested in anybody. Soto's always a good one-off, but they're not a team I'm looking to stack today. The Yankees are on another crazy hot streak, just like the Astros, and they've been absolutely mashing home runs left and right. Going up against Dallas Keuchel, who doesn't strike people out. He's always typically been a ground ball pitcher, but at this point in his career, he's kind of been struggling in all aspects. He's given up 3 home runs, but he's not really making it out of some of these games early. One game where he got absolutely destroyed was against the Indians, so that kind of hurt his ERA. He also didn't have a great game against the Angels. Typically, he's had some decent games this year, but those have been against some not great offensive teams. But against us Yankees, with how good they are and with how much they've been mashing the ball recently, it's tough for me to pass up on some of these Yankees bats. Like Giancarlo Stanton is always a guy that you want to play against lefties, and he's has 6 home runs in his last 10 games. He's a streaky hitter. Aaron Judge is also mashing the ball. These teams seem to have a bit of rivalry going back and forth. The Yankees right now winning both of the games so far in Chicago. They should probably continue to kind of put up some runs here against Keuchel. He's not a good pitcher at this point, and this lineup is absolutely stacked. And we're getting great price tags up and down the lineup. Sub 5K for Stanton. Judge is expensive, but he should be. But sub 5K for Stanton. You're getting sub 4K for Donaldson, who's hitting the ball well. Sub 4K for Torres. 31 for Hicks. Yankees going to be one of my preferred stacks today. Next game, we have Shane Bieber against Devin Smeltzer. Indian side looks better than the Twins side. I like Bieber as a pitching option today, even though he hasn't been great. Last start, he struggled, but I expect him to bounce back. In terms of the Cleveland Indians bats, always go to Jose Ramirez if you're stacking this team, but I like Straw, sub 35, batting leadoff, getting a decent price tag on Franmil Reyes at only 33 with the power that he gives you. Those are the bats I'd look at. We could see some rain here in Citi Field, so I'm going to skip this game. I would look at the pitching options here, especially Chris Bassett. But if there's going to be rain in the area, then it might definitely gonna affect my chances of playing Bassett. We got Coors. We saw Coors pop off last night. Rockies against the Royals today. Marquez struggling so far. Hernandez also struggling. The Rockies have the highest total on the slate by far. Take a look at Hernandez's stats so far this season. Not been very good. He's only $5,700. He only has 10 strikeouts in 22 innings, 7.5, 7.15 ERA. So looking at some of these Rockies bats for sure. Last night they started $2,700 Jonathan Daza as a leadoff hitter. We'll see if he cracks the lineup today, but looking at this team, 35 Brendan Rodgers looks appealing. Hilliard, 31 looks good. And then even the middle part of the order, the top part, Connor Joe, Blackman, Crone, all look like great plays. Don't mind getting to the Royals as well. You're getting $2,400 Carlos Santana. I know he was on the injured list for a bit, and he doesn't give you as much power as some of the other first base options, but $2,400 for a guy that is expected to bat cleanup for them is crazy for a team in Coors and with the team having a 5-run total. So that player looks good just based on the value. Isabel as $2,300 outfielder looks decent. Taylor looks all right, and then top end, I like Bobby Witt batting leadoff. Merrifield's been kind of cold, but we saw Benintendi hit a bomb yesterday. He looks all right at 46. Cubs against the Diamondbacks. Zach Gallen is going to be one of my favorite pitching options today. He has a sub-1 ERA. He gets you decent strikeout stuff, and going up against this Cubs lineup, which does have some strikeout hitters in it. I like the matchup for Zach Gallen. And then the Diamondbacks stack looks all right. I mean, not going to pay $5K for Varsho. Maybe you can talk me into some of these one-off hitters, but they're on the list, but they're not my favorite. Then we got the Phillies against the Dodgers. We saw so far the 2 games of the series been very high scoring. They have Garrett Clevenger here, but Dodgers website expected to be Luis Juarez. So if that's the case, and the Phillies, even though they do have some great hitters that are cheap, like Hoskins, $2,700, if he's going to be there batting against Juarez. Even though Juarez is very good, it's a lefty-righty matchup for a guy like Hoskins who does give you some pop. And I don't know why he's so cheap at 27. So that's another guy. If you don't want to play like Carlos Santana, who I do expect to be popular, like Reese at $2,700, streaky hitter, 3 bombs in his last 10. He's a guy that you can definitely make a case for. Same thing can be said for Alec Bohm at $2,200. He's also super cheap. He's good against lefties. He's batting a great batting average this year. He's another guy to consider. So Phillies could be a bit sneaky today if nobody's going to be on them. They've been scoring some runs lately. The lineup is super powerful, and like Castellanos, Bohm, Hoskins, all super cheap, all very good. Even go to like Realmuto as a catching option, 34. I don't mind the Phillies stack at all. And then Camargo, 2K. He's been good for the Phillies as well. Even though he bats at the bottom of the order, he's 3 home runs in just 77 at-bats. Looks pretty solid. Going back to DraftKings, looking at the pitching options today, I'm going to look to pay up a bit for Zach Gallen, 98. He has a .95 ERA this year, only 4 walks, so he goes deep into games, doesn't get himself into trouble. Been on .5 ERA at home, just really solid option. Last game he pitched really well, and that was that in Coors? No, that was at home, but still impressive to say the least. 30 fantasy points. Second pitcher, we got some options here. Why is it Angels game on here and they just messed up the time? So they might be playing it might be like a doubleheader situation or something. I'm not sure. But if this game is on here, you do have Lorenzen as a decent option at 8,000 against pretty bad Oakland offense. He has 21 strikeouts, so strikeouts aren't as much as they were last year. He looks all right at 8,000. But the guy that I'm going to go ahead and put in is going to be Shane Bieber. I think he'll bounce back here. Getting a good price tag on him. You know, the Indians or the Guardians are trying to re-sign him. They offered him like $10 million a year. Really disrespectful for a guy like Bieber, the way that he's been pitching for them the last few years. But definitely think he'll bounce back after getting kind of hit around against Toronto. He's on the road here in Minnesota. It's a decent ballpark to pitch in. He's been really good on the road this year. In his 4 starts, he's kind of got in trouble at home. So I can kind of stick with Shane Bieber today. Looking over at first base, you know, if you wanted to pay up for anybody, it would be for CJ Cron for me, going with the Rockies bats. If you're looking for some of these guys in the mid-range, you can look to like Jose Abreu against Montgomery. It's a lefty-righty matchup for Abreu, and he's really good against lefties. Scrolling further down here, got some decent options in the 3K range and in the 2K range. 3K range, maybe you can look to like, maybe, I was going to say Seth Bieber, but he's sub 3K, so it looks all right. But 2K option, you got Hoskins at only 27. That's a crazy price tag for him, even though the Phillies have a low total. And then Carlos Santana, I know he's not a fun player to roster. He came off just missed a couple games, I believe, but he missed like 10 days. Came back, got a couple walks. I don't think he strikes out. Yeah, he doesn't strike out much. He just doesn't give you a ton of upside, but it's going to be hard to pass him up if you're looking for a cheap first baseman. Other guy would be Hoskins, just because they're in cores, $2,400, crazy price tag. Over at second base, top end, you have Trevor Story. That's going to be a pass for me. I'm looking at maybe Whit Merrifield at his price tag. I like Ketel Marte at 44. Gives you some speed as well. Further down here, you have Gleyber Torres at a good price tag. Segura, if you're looking to play him against a lefty. And Brendan Rodgers would be another option at 35. Over at third base, pay up is Devers. Really expensive at 57. I like Jose Ramirez more at 52. You got Bregman there at 5K, but I like Bobby Witt and some of these other guys that are a little bit cheaper. I like Ryan McMahon as well. I will go, and you even have Josh Donaldson at 39, who's been swinging a pretty good bat here for the Yankees recently. Back-to-back games with home runs. Good matchup here, lefty-righty. Donaldson's also good against lefties. So I'll put him in at 39. Over at shortstop, you got Lindor at 53. Not going to play him if the rain is going to be a concern here. I don't mind going further down here for some cheaper option. Like Iglesias gives you some upside, but he doesn't give you home run upside, so he's like 45. It looks okay, but I'd rather get Bobby Witt at 43 from the Royals side. And then if you wanted to, there's not too much cheap options here. We saw Royce Lewis hit a bomb grand slam yesterday, but not going to play him against Shane Bieber. In the outfield, I'll go ahead and put in Hilliard. Even if he bats like 7th or 8th in the lineup, it's not the worst thing for a guy in cores. Rockies have a 6+ run total. He should be looking at 4 at-bats easily, and lefty-righty matchup for him against a guy that doesn't strike people out. Hilliard gives you power, and we saw him get a stolen base yesterday as well, so he does give you that upside to steal, especially against a pitcher that's slow. Throwing doesn't throw hard, so more opportunity to steal bases, and this park is good for getting those triples as well if he's able to hit one into the gap. Top end plays would be definitely Aaron Judge at 58, but if you wanted to go a little bit cheaper, still get to a Yankees bat, it would be for Giancarlo Stanton for me, just because he's going up against a lefty, and we know Stanton is absolutely mashing the ball at this point, and he's crazy good against lefties. 6 bombs for him in his last 10 games, 316 average, making great contact. He has 7 hits in his last 3 games. Lots of good things to like for Stanton. Other picks would be going to some of these guys in the course games, like Connor Joe here, Blackman, but sometimes you just got to stick with the hot hitters. In baseball, the Yankees bats are hot. I expect them to stay hot against Dallas Keuchel on his 6+ ERA. So that's what I got for DraftKings. Let's go ahead and look at FanDuel. All right, this video is almost like 14 minutes already, so everything that I said on DraftKings for the players and the teams I'm looking at is the same thing for FanDuel. Looking at the Coors game, I'm looking at the Yankees bats a bit, looking at some of these Astros bats if I can get to them, and I think the Phillies are sneaky, especially on DraftKings. On FanDuel, they priced them up a little bit. I mean, they're priced where they should be, but DraftKings are getting a crazy discount on them. So I went with Gallen as my pitcher at 99 because I don't know about the rain in New York. I'm not going to risk that. Love Gallen at his price tag. He's only $800 more than Shane Bieber. And then catcher, first base, we have some options, whether you want to go with the Coors game or not, but you have Cron at 41. 3K range, we have some good options here. Salvador Perez, 32. Abreu, 31. Carlos Santana's 3K, so I'm not too interested in him. I'd rather get up to 200 more for Salvador Perez with the power that he gives you. And then, even like Real Muto looks all right at $2,900. And then Diaz at 27. If he's going to be batting 6th, could see the backup catcher for them instead today. Second base, Altuve, if he's in there at 34, looks pretty solid. McMahon looks good at 34 as well. Got a lot of these guys similarly priced. 31 for Merrifield looks all right. And then kind of it for the main pieces. Brendan Rodgers maybe at 27. Maybe Marcus Semien can break out of it, but it's been a tough month and a half for him. Third base, I went with Josh Donaldson, lefty-righty matchup. Good against lefties. He's hitting the ball really well right now. Stick with some of these hot bats. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop option, like the price tag at 32. Gives you power, gives you some upside there, batting at the top of the order. And then I went with Sam Hilliard, 26, really cheap to get to a Rockies bat here. And then I stuck with Stanton at 35 just because he's not that expensive, and we know how good he is against lefties. If he played DFS the last few years, we're getting like a $1,000 discount at least on his price tag compared to what it should be. So that's what I got for this baseball slate. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Best of luck today, and I will see you all next time.